Hey there, my name's Tim, and today I want to talk to you about why I just returned the gimbal that I purchased. The one that I had purchased was the Crane V2, not to be confused with version 2. And it was pretty cool. I played around with it and got a couple cool shots, but the amount of time that it took to set up, it just wasn't feasible for the type of video that I typically do, which is either weddings or corporate events, things of that nature. I don't have time to put a gimbal on a tripod and balance it all out and then run and hope that the bride isn't already down the aisle. I've never had a gimbal before, and I've always gotten shots that I'm fairly happy with. So what I want to do today is show you 6 tips that I use to get steady shots in my videos without using a gimbal. Okay, so the first 4 tips I'm going to talk about, we can talk about right here, and you're going to have to forgive the old school film style camera. I only have one digital camera at the time, so to show you some of these tips, we're gonna have to use this guy as a stand-in. So the first one, which I think can, with a little practice, get you as close to an actual gimbal or Steadicam type shot without actually purchasing one of those items, is going to be to loop your strap over the lens, bring it down like this, and then you're just gonna, now this is kind of cool because it gives you some control. You can tilt, you can also tilt up and down, and with enough practice you can do a lot of those motions with one hand. It's a little jerky at first and it's going to take some getting used to, but if you don't have $400 to $800 to spend on a gimbal, this can really get you some nice shots. One thing that I can mention with this is the strap itself can cause problems with, if you can hear this one, it's really noisy. So the microphone is going to pick that up a lot. The strap that I use on my digital camera, which is this guy, the strap itself is quiet, but you got this jingling, so it's a crapshoot. I usually use that for B-roll anyway, so I'm not using the audio from the camera when I do this, so it doesn't really bother me. And if you've got an on-camera mic, it could get in the way of that. But for audio-free B-roll, really smooth shots, just get some practice in, and I think you'll be really happy with what you're doing. The second tip I've got for you will help you get some nice pan shots as well as some tilts up and down. Forgive me for not having the technical names here, pretty much self-taught with video. But what you want to do is basically anytime you have 3 points of contact, you're going to have a fairly stable shot. So if you throw the strap around your neck and press out so that you have tight straps, and then just do your turns, you're up and down, and you get some really nice shots with that. You can even almost get, you could pretty much get a tripod style shot like this. You're gonna get a little bit of shake, but the trendy thing in video right now is handheld anyway. I mean, look at popular shows like Modern Family. They have camera shake the whole way through because they're shot in a handheld style. So it's not anything you're gonna need to worry about. Tip number 3 is just basically to do with the way that you're holding the camera, and that's to pull your shoulders into your body. If you pull your shoulders in and hold the camera tight and close, that's going to give you a lot more steady shot than if you're just holding it out here and it's shaking and rattling like that. So using those tips with just a camera and a strap and your own body and posture should get you some pretty steady shots. There are a few other things you can do using extra equipment, which is not expensive. We're talking just a tripod here, as well as in software that are going to help you out. So tip number 4 is going to be using slow motion. As long as you can get a fairly steady shot, when you slow it down, it's going to get rid of those camera shakes and it's just going to smooth everything out. I mean, if you're moving really jerky or shaking really bad, that's still going to show up when you slow things down. But if you're using these tips that I've already given you, we may have just found a new one. Yeah, look at that. That's very steady. Happy accident. Yeah. So anyhow, if you're using these tricks and then you're slowing that down even by 20%, that's really going to smooth everything out for you. So tip number 4, slow motion in the software. These last 2 tips, we're going to take a really quick trip outside. That does not work. That does not work. It does not work with a 16mm lens. Okay, we were going to go outside, but I think we're just going to do these last 2 indoors. There are 2 variations on the first trick, and basically what you want to do is set up your tripod. Set your camera on your tripod so that the single leg is facing you, and then you're going to use the 2 remaining legs to tilt your camera like this. Now there's a couple variations. You can just use this just as a, say I want to tilt into something on the ground, tilt it just like that. If I want to be looking straight at the ground and tilt up into the sky, I can start down here and tilt up. Or keep your arm loose, and then I can tilt right into my subject and keep the camera aimed right at him. From the side, it's going to look like this. It just gives you a lot more control. Okay, so this last trick really is my favorite one, and I discovered this when I was down in Georgia filming my first wedding. I didn't own a Steadicam, I didn't own a gimbal, I didn't have a good way to get a really steady shot while I was walking. I really don't know how I came up with this, but what I did is mounted the camera on my tripod, and this works best with a photo tripod because most video tripods are gonna connect in here as well, and that really prevents you from doing what it is you're gonna do. So you're gonna mount the camera on the tripod, and then you're gonna flip it over and hold it like this. So the further out you bring your legs, the more stable it's gonna be because it's just distributing that weight over a larger distance. You can also extend the legs to give you some more stability, but that kind of starts to get annoying or you run into people. But essentially, you're just gonna walk around and hold it by this, and that's gonna give you a very similar look and feel to a Steadicam. Of course, then you're gonna have to flip your footage over in Premiere or Final Cut or whatever it is that you're using, but that's pretty simple. So really quick, check out some footage that I took at the parade in town this week for the 4th of July just to get some ideas of how I used some of these techniques to get some steady shots without the gimbal that I just returned. There you have it. Those are my 6 tips for getting steady shots without using a gimbal or a Steadicam. Thank you guys for showing up, checking out the video. I really appreciate it. If you like this, please hit the subscribe button and click the little bell to get notifications. I promise there are going to be more great videos coming soon. We're going to do some more tips. We're going to do some reviews on some gear, and hopefully sooner or later we're going to start doing some just standard vlogging. I really appreciate it, you guys, and thanks. Have a great one.